So guys, we got a big mystery to unpack within this video. As you guys probably know, there's been a little bit of a civil war within hip-hop over the last couple months involving Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, Metro Boomin, Future, The Weeknd, Rick Ross, A$AP Rocky, and more. And within this beef, some crazy allegations were made, some reference tracks were leaked, some items were exposed, and it left a lot of people wondering, where are the two parties getting their information from? Obviously, Drake threw out some crazy allegations at Kendrick with no proof, and Kendrick fired back with some of his own allegations against Drake. Neither party revealed the source of the information that they exposed, so we gotta do a little digging here and pick up the pieces, and we might have just found out who the rat was that was feeding Kendrick all this information. Or we might have not. You gotta stick around to the end of the video to find out.
There's a lot of little nuggets in both of their disses that if it wasn't for these breakdowns, and salute to, guys like this, Rapaholics, because I think they directly get it.
But we gotta take it all the way back to this second diss track Kendrick Lamar dropped on Drake's head top, which was called 616 in LA. On there, Kendrick rapped, "Conspiracies about Cash Dog, that's not even the leak. Are you finally ready to play Have You Ever? Let's see. Have you ever thought that OVO was working for me? Fake bully, I hate bullies, you must be a terrible person. Everyone inside your team is whispering that you deserve it." Here he's implying that Drake is such a terrible person that even people within his organization are plotting to expose him. And The Weeknd made similar implications on his record with Future and Metro Boomin titled All to Myself, where he rapped, "And they can never diss my brother's baby," when they got leaks in their operation. The Weeknd was also referencing Drake having leaks within his camp. And what happens a day after The Weeknd puts out that record? Well, Drake's diss track Push-Ups gets leaked online. Now, along with the Push-Ups track, multiple reference tracks for songs like Mob Ties, Jumbotron Poppin', and Ratchet Happy Birthday get leaked. We know it was Metro Boomin who leaked the Lil Yachty reference track of Jumbotron Poppin', but the source of the leak of the Mob Ties and Ratchet Happy Birthday reference tracks still remains unknown to this day. It's assumed that it came from a leak within Drake's camp, as Mob Ties was specifically written as a reference track directly for Drake, and Ratchet Happy Birthday was written by Party Next Door, the regional manager of the OVO sweatshop. So with Kendrick Lamar and The Weeknd referencing Drake having leaks within his camp, to just a few days later Drake's diss tracks and reference tracks leaking online, which are some of the last songs that Drake would ever want to leak without his permission, it really does seem like someone close to Drake who has access directly to him and his studio sessions and his music is leaking these records. However, who the hell could this mystery leaker be? Well, Kendrick continued to drop hints of the mole on his 616 in LA diss record where he rapped, "Know the wires in your circle should puzzle you. If you were street smart, then you would have caught on that your entourage is only to hustle you. 100 guys that you got on salary, and 20 of them want you as a casualty, and one of them is actually next to you, and 2 of them is practically tired of your lifestyle, just don't got the audacity to tell you." So basically, he's implying that 20 guys are out to get Drake or want him as a casualty. This could be in reference to 20 different people within Drake's organization secretly being out to get him, or it could be in reference to the fact that Drake mentioned that this battle was a 20v1 between him and a bunch of artists whose first hit he put in their hand, aka having them on salary as Kendrick rapped. But what's more interesting than that is the constant implication that the guys closest to Drake are the ones trying to extort him. Kendrick makes this abundantly clear when he says, "Have you ever thought that OVO is working for me?" But who from OVO could be working for Kendrick? We saw him take shots at most of Drake's closest OVO affiliates on Not Like Us, saying things like "Baka's got a weird case why I see around," Party Next Door's playing with his nose, Chubbs gets Drake's hand-me-downs, and we've also seen plenty of OVO members go to bat for Drake on social media, calling Kendrick's new music trash. And when he says OVO is working for him, or conspiracies about cash aren't even the leak, what is the actual leak that he's referring to? Well, it could be a number of things, right? The leak could be all of the reference tracks or diss tracks leaked from Drake's camp. It could be the items featured on the Meet the Grams album artwork that are allegedly Drake's, stuff like the Ozempic prescription, the pill bottles, the Maybach gloves, or the leak could simply be all of the info Kendrick was using against Drake within this battle. How Chubbs gets his hand-me-downs, or how he throws massive parties on his son's secret yacht with women of who knows what age, or of course, the biggest conspiracy, Drake's alleged 11-year-old daughter. Now, we're not going to get into whether or not Kendrick's allegations are true, whether Drake has a daughter or if he's on Ozempic, but we are going to talk about who the leak within OVO could possibly be. Because a lot of the lyrics within Kendrick's 616 in LA record line up with one person being the accomplice in this Operation Takedown of Drake. That would be none other than Mike Zombie. If you don't know who Mike Zombie is, he's the producer of Started From the Bottom, which was the first single off of Drake's 2013 album Nothing Was the Same. After Started from the Bottom, we never heard Drake or Mike Zombie collaborate on music together. But in 2018, Mike Zombie did state that he was still signed to OVO as an in-house producer. Now, it's interesting looking at the music he produced after Starting from the Bottom. The second biggest record he did was They Don't Love You No More by DJ Khaled in 2014. And funny enough, Jay-Z had a verse on that record where he was subliminally dissing Drake all throughout it, calling him soft as a lacrosse team. And all those disses were happening on a beat made by Mike Zombie, a producer off Drake's label. After that, Mike Zombie was producing for an overwhelmingly large amount of California artists. Westside Boogie, KC Veggies, I Am Sue, Janae Aiko, The Game, 24 Hours, Don Kennedy, and more. Why did he go from producing one song for Drake, signing to Drake's label, to then mainly producing records for West Coast artists, and one song for DJ Khaled that contains subliminal shots directed at Drake? And it's one thing if Drake never used him for beats again, as we know Drake likes to constantly trace new trends, link up with new producers who have a hot sound at the moment. But we've never even heard Mike Zombie collaborate with another member off of OVO. It was like Drake signed him as a producer and then completely forgot about him, and Mike Zombie left Toronto, flew out to LA, and only started doing music with people from Kendrick's hometown. And according to Mike Zombie, he doesn't know to this day why he hasn't collaborated with Drake after Started from the Bottom. Someone asked him in 2020 why there's been no music between him and Drake, and Mike Zombie passively aggressively replied to him saying, "Go ask Drake." Now, this is all speculation, but let's establish what we know, right? On 616 in LA, Kendrick implied that there was moles within Drake's camp by rapping, "Have you ever thought that OVO was working for me?" Mike Zombie is an OVO producer who has been consistently collaborating with artists from Kendrick's hometown. Now here's where it gets interesting. Mike Zombie also has a song called 616 from 10 years ago. It's a song about young people partying, something Kendrick references Drake doing on his 616 in LA record. Kendrick also concludes the record by telling Drake, "It's time that you look around on who's around you before you figure that you're not alone. Ask what Mike would do." Now, many people thought he was referencing Michael Jackson, which he likely was, as Michael Jackson had been a common theme throughout their beef, with Drake comparing his legacy to Michael's, while Kendrick was more akin to Prince. However, when he says, "Before you figure that you're not alone, ask what Mike would do," could he be talking about Mike Zombie, concluding the track by exposing the mole within Drake's camp through a slick double entendre? Well, I'm just here to present you guys the facts. I'll let me know down in the comments if this is a conspiracy or if we're onto something here. Shout out to the YouTube channel The Vil for breaking this story down yesterday. I'll link his YouTube channel in the description. He likes to go on rabbit holes to get the answers to some of the mysteries and little nuggets that came out throughout the beef, through the subliminals from Drake and Kendrick. I think it's also interesting that when Pusha T exposed Drake for having a kid, Drake made it seem like that info came from Kanye, who told Pusha T. But Pusha T said that it was actually Drake's in-house producer 40 pillow talking to a woman who then told Pusha T that Drake had a kid. So whether Pusha T is lying or not, and whether or not we're reaching here, it's interesting that Drake might have two in-house producers leaking his private information and records. Also, what's important to note is after the story was broken yesterday, I'm not sure if it was The Vil who broke it or if it was another channel, Mike Zombie actually tweeted out saying, "Lol, what the F people think I'm doing? And people are hilarious." He could be implying here that he has nothing to do with this whole situation. It's hilarious, it's all made up. Plus, if you break it down, if Drake hasn't worked with the guy in over 10 years, how close could Mike Zombie really be to Drake at this point? I mean, maybe he's out here at the OVO sweatshop making beats and being privy to unreleased music or moves that Drake's about to make. Maybe he's disgruntled by Drake not using any of his beats in the last 10 years, and maybe he's responsible for leaking some of these records. But maybe this is all just a complete reach. It really depends on their relationship today, how closely Mike Zombie is within the OVO camp. Is he still recording at their studios? Does he still have access to other producers and artists that are in communication with Drake? How else would he get this information, right? I mean, he's from New Jersey. He could still be living out there far away from Toronto. Maybe he just signed a slave deal with OVO back in 2013. He was an excited, aspiring producer. And at this point, he has pretty much no ties to the label as he's not really collaborating with anyone from the label. I believe that was a similar story to McConan. McConan signed to Drake. Didn't really find much success after his first big hit Tuesday. And it was at that point that he basically lost complete contact with Drake. However, we have seen a lot of Drake leaks over the last couple years. We have seen several other artists talk about Drake having leaks within his camp, and we've seen a lot of people turn on Drake over the last couple months. If Mike Zombie is still around the OVO sweatshop, but collaborates more with West Coast artists than anyone from Toronto, including Drake, then it is very possible that OVO is working for Kendrick. I'll let you decide in the comments. Let me know what I missed. Let me know if this is all a conspiracy or if it's the truth, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.